Parks and Rec for me was something I found later on. I didn't grow up thinking I'd have a career in it. I don't know that many people do. It kind of is one of those things you don't realize you can do for a living and get paid to do. So I actually graduated high school and went to college to study meteorology. I thought I was gonna be researching weather and doing those kinds of things as a career. And I had a pretty profound life event while I was in college. My father passed away from cancer, and it had a big impact on my life to where I kind of started reevaluating everything. And I just had always told myself, meteorology is something to do, but I think during that time I realized it wasn't necessarily something I would be passionate about. And I took time to reflect and say, what am I passionate about? What have I always enjoyed doing? What would I want to wake up and do every day? And as I looked back on my childhood, it was, being in Boy Scouts and going camping and playing sports and going swimming at the pool and playing basketball and doing leagues. And that's what really got me excited and what I looked forward to day. And I asked myself, is that something I can really do? And someone will actually pay me to do it. And that's when I first kind of figured out that Parks and Recreation was kind of a career path. And so I did the simplest route I think I could do was I went to my hometown where I grew up, and they had a Parks and Rec department, and I sent an email to the director and said, this is something I kind of think I want to try out and see what kind of opportunities are there. So can I come and do something with y'all? And luckily, being in college, they had an internship available, and so I was hired on as a summer intern. And I have never looked back. I immediately fell in love with it, and fortunate that while it was tough at the time, everything kind of happens for a reason, and that it led me to this career I have now. We facilitate ways for people to come together socially, to grow from each other mentally and physically, and work on fitness and making connections with their community, making connections to nature, and all these different aspects. And I think in recent years, we're seeing that a lot more and more, especially out of large global events like COVID, when a lot of things were shut down and resources were limited. Parks was always there, and these outdoor spaces were always there, and programming that's available to people, whether you have a hard time affording things or not, there's always going to be some kind of program or opportunity that is available to you. And there's always challenges every day. I think one of the challenges facing Parks and Rec now kind of revolves around inclusion and equity in these kinds of discussions of who has historically been involved and part of the decision making, and who has historically been underserved or not part of those conversations, and how today with those perspectives and that knowledge do we rectify perhaps some of the mistakes of the past, or just giving people access. We're here to serve everybody, but not everybody necessarily feels like we are doing that, or that we have historically done that, and finding ways to change that identity about our industry, that it's not just for you can do this activity and you can do that activity. Everything is for everyone. And how do we take that step to make sure that we're living up to that, and then also portray that as an image to the regular user? The thing that drives me more than anything is just knowing that I'm helping improve my community, whether it's the town I live in myself or the town that I work in, that the residents and the users and visitors are gonna have a good experience, that they're gonna have greater quality of life from these things. And it was taught to me early on in my career, we're providing sports, we're providing hiking, we're providing aquatics, and all these different things that are really common to Parks and Rec, but those are really the tools. What we're really giving people is memories, and we're giving them experiences, and that's what we provide. And when you start to view it that way, it becomes so much more personal and so much more that you're making a long-lasting impact, and that perspective is what really drives me and keeps me excited every day. So growing up, for me, Parks and Recreation was mostly going to my local park. I specifically remember it was called Friendship Park, and it was all wooden, and it looked like a giant castle, and we would play hide and seek because there was tunnels and different spires that you could hide in, and we would run around and have base and everything like that, and we would be there for hours. Our parents would pack us lunch, and we'd picnic out there, and we'd go from the beginning of the day until the sun was going down, and that was just I remember those days so vividly. It stuck with me this whole time. And I always, besides that, always enjoyed playing sports. So I was always in our local basketball league. I was always in soccer, even when we were little 3-year-olds just chasing a ball around. I can remember every single one of those moments. It's crazy to think about now. You never know as you go through life, the things that are gonna stick with you. And as I look back now, it's all those experiences that I had with Parks and Recreation that have stuck with me all the way up to this point. Now I have, a son of my own, and I'm taking him to my local park so he can start to make those memories, and it just becomes a generational thing. And I think that's something that makes it very special.